straight at me and stopped. And I had to put another one in. So when I chambered another one, he heard me because he didn't know where the bullet came from. And he took off. I didn't get another crack at him. I thought I hit him, but I didn't.
You're on.
Oh, I'm on.
Yeah.
Okay, can you move it back this way because I have some props here.
Okay.
So we promised that we would live stream to our YouTube audience, so that's what Jill's doing right now. What I've done this year that I haven't done in past years is I was able to last night slow down, and instead of thinking, okay, what's the next thing we have to do? We've done this enough times where I can kind of do it without thinking about it a lot, you know? And so last night, I think it was when I was talking with you, Laura, I started thinking about everybody that's here and assessing personally why you're here. Like, because I can ask you why you're coming to this class, but then after I've worked with you for a day and a half, then it's like, oh, I know why that person's here. I know why you're here, right? So, okay, here it is, day 3. We're really over the hump. Yesterday was the hump, and it went easy. You guys made the day easy. 2 big pigs, 800 pounds of pig, processed down, and I pulled this stuff out of the cooler this morning because I wanted to ask you some questions. There's some bones. Is there anybody here that doesn't think that they could get bones, make bones out of what we did? Everybody here think they could probably handle this?
Oh, yeah.
Doing the bone thing, getting
yeah.
bones.
Yeah.
And we're going to show today what we use bones for. A lot of times the bones are thought to be like just refuse, you know, given to the dogs, but these are very useful and very important, right? So everybody thinks they could do that. Does everybody have a firm grasp on this process, making well, it's not lard yet, but it will be lard when we process it down. But yes, we're separating fat from lean and then getting it through the grinder. And now this is going to go in the freezer and it'll be stabilized until we need it, and we can do tons of things with this.
Feel very confident to be able to do that.
You're confident, okay.
Yeah.
Next thing, we rendered a bunch down and made lard. This is shelf stable, and we all know that it's got, I hope we all know it's got a ton of uses. We ate some of it last night, whipped it. Today Jill's gonna put some of this in a blender with garlic cloves and make a sauce out of it that you can just put on bread, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of things. Okay, everybody could do this? You all handle this?
Yeah.
Okay. Spare ribs. Everybody peeled some ribs off those bellies, and we got them packaged. You guys packaged these.
Yeah.
Anybody think they'd have a problem doing this?
No. Got it under control.
Got that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Pork chop.
Pork chops, yeah. Favorite part. Easy peasy.
Not too hard.
No.
But the thing is before you've done it, it's a mystery. And you think, well, only guys that have white aprons and hairnets can do that. Right?
That's right.
But now that we've done it, it's kind of like, oh, okay, now I got that. So you guys all showed up on Friday, and then you showed up again yesterday morning, and we just walked through this. And so where are you now? I mean, you've got something that you didn't have before you came, and I think it's a great thing. I took this class, I think in 2009, out in Washington, from Christoph and Isabel Wiesner. They're from Austria. And this is part of their culture, and they shared it with us. And Jill and I have been kind of fooling around with it to the point where we felt like we could share it with other people. So this is our 9th year of doing Homestead Hog Harvest. At one time it was called pig stock, but that was more geared towards the charcuterie end of it. And we found, well, in this crowd right here, we've got one chef. one professional chef, and the rest of you are homesteaders. Whether you know it or not, you're homesteaders. You are homesteaders. I'm looking at, you are all homesteaders. So, as far as homesteading goes, I said this before and I just want to say it again. The choke point really is bringing an animal, a live animal, from live, running around, contained, being fed, to this point. That's the choke point on it. And before you went to this class, your options were putting that animal in a trailer and bringing it to an expert, a guy that does this for a living, you know. And, you know, there's downsides to that for sure. But now you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You can develop this. All right, so I was talking with Brianna yesterday, and I said, if you had to train for a job that you could make $1,000 a week from your own home, even if you didn't like doing it, would you do it? She's like, yeah, I would. So, I mean, you're probably the youngest person here, probably. And you said, yeah, you do it without hesitation. And that's what got me to thinking. So every time I do one of these classes, I'm thinking, there's more to this than I realize. And I get shown a few more things. So I wanted to start today with, you know, this, showing you these things, all the things you know how to do, and then talk a little bit about the economics of the Mangalitsa pig. It could be any kind of pig. I'm just favoring the Mangalitsa pig. I favor the heritage breeds because of the way they'll eat and how well they do in the wintertime. You see them sleeping out there. They don't care if it's snowing. So I favor the Mangalitsa pig. So let's just talk a little bit about the economics of, let's say, a sow. A sow being a female that you can breed, and let's say that you can breed her for 5 years in a row, and at the end of the 5th year, her production drops off a little bit, or she's getting kind of big, which, you know, is kind of a bad thing with farrowing. That's the process of having pig babies, is farrowing. You know, a cow is calving, a human is babying, but farrowing is what they call pigs having babies. So she'll farrow twice a year, and let's say for 5 years. So when she farrows, we figure with the Mangalitsa, between 7 and 8 is a fair amount that she'll have. She's able to handle them, and she's able to bring them to adolescenthood, and we can take the babies from her. So if she's 5 years old and she gives us 5 years of farrowing, 8 times 2, 16 times 5, what's that about? I should have prepared this. 16 times 5, what would that be? Poindexter.
80.
80? You sure?
16 times
Yes,
5 would be
80.
50 plus 30.
80.
80, okay? So 80 baby pigs, okay? And you know, it's plus or minus 20, I would say, plus or minus 20. But let's say 80, that's a pretty conservative number. If we sell a wiener pig, the rule of thumb there is going to be about $100 for a Mangalitsa. So there's $8,000 in 5 years, and that's one pig, one sow, $8,000 just selling wiener pigs, right? $100 you sell a Mangalitsa wiener pig, they'll fly off the shelf, right? So that's profitable keeping her. Then you got to pay for her upkeep, for her feed and things like that. And we talk about this in other blocks of instruction, but feeding the Mangalitsa pig is pretty easy. You don't have to be buying feeds. You can scrounge a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can feed them. You can grow a lot for them.
There's apples everywhere.
Apples everywhere. Road apples, yeah. And then at the end of her 5 years of giving you wiener pigs, then we're going to do something with her. She's 5 years old. She's big. She could be 400 or 500 pounds, or 6. then we're gonna make her into sausage, and that's what we're gonna be doing today is making sausage. So this is the fallback position. If nothing else, you can take her and turn her into sausage. And I asked Jill this morning about it, like, what's a good price to talk about for a pound of, let's say, breakfast sausage? She said $7 a pound. So if, let's say $7 and a 500-pound pig, we're gonna make 400 pounds of sausage out of it. All right. So 7 times 4 is 28. Add that to the 8,000 before. So we're up over 10. We're up over 10 grand. And this is just one pig, right? So that's what you're going to be learning about today is how to make sausage. And you know, you saw that there wasn't much waste. I think behind Sean is a bucket, and that's the waste.
5 gallon.
And it's not really waste, is it, right?
Not really.
Because we need these guardian dogs.
Yeah.
So I got to feed them anyway. So where's the waste? There wasn't any waste. The pile of hair is sitting outside, and that's not a waste either, because that's going in the compost pile, and it's going to put protein into the compost pile and provide food for the compost pile to make it through the winter, all the little critters that are in there. So there just wasn't any waste out of it. And oh, by the way, we ate pretty good, and we're going to eat again today. Those cookies right there were made with this. That's why they are good, you know, because they got this in it. I ate 2 of them before bed last night. So that's where we're at, and I just kind of wanted to refocus because I thought about everybody why you came here, and this is the nugget at the end, the charcuterie nugget that when you have, we're going to eat a lot of this sausage that we make today. We'll be cooking a lot in here. It's going to smell really good in here, and when you start eating it, you're going to say, $7 for a pound of this stuff? Load me up. I'll take it. What does $7 buy?
Some of it I feel like is worth 20.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay that, so we get to eat it.
So we eat
It's
it.
mine.
Yeah, and that's why the
I like
homesteading thing is good because is way better because like when you want to sell the products that you make on your homestead out into the public, you're dealing with spam, you're dealing with Hormel hams, you're dealing with all that. That's really, really inexpensive. And so people kind of have this in their mind, yeah, I want to eat quality stuff, but I don't want to pay the money for it. And so their priorities are kind of upside down. But as a homesteader, when I eat, I'm going to eat one of these probably tonight. I'm going to be very happy when I eat this. It's going to make me very happy. So there you go. That's my closing spiel. So we do have a lot to do. Is there any input before we get started? Everybody got coffee and stuff? Everybody ready to go?
Yes. Seems like as a farmer, whenever someone buys one of your products, they're basically paying you to eat your food. So they're paying you for your food, but they're also paying you to eat your own food. Because you don't have to go to the grocery store to go and buy it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're running a homestead, like Brianna and I talked about it yesterday, her husband works off, so he brings in the dollars that they need. She's going to run the homestead and provide the food for 4 kids, a husband, and her. That's pretty equal deal. So then your dollars that he's bringing home, they can go to other things. You know, they could go to other things. You know, and like we're big. When you get into the homestead mentality, Adam and I were talking about equipment yesterday, right? If you look at the equipment that I have around here, is old a bad thing? I mean, it's one of those things like you say bureaucracy and you get this vision of a bad thing in your mind.
Functional.
And I can fix it. And the parts are cheap. That pickup truck up there is 50 years old. It's my daily driver. If I need a starter for it, it's $30. So give me 2 of them. I'll put one on the shelf. If I had a 10-year-old pickup, it would be $500, and you have to have a technician put it in,
'Cause
you
it's
know, with a
computer.
laptop, right? So no, the older equipment for the homestead is a lot better, and that's a whole nother conversation. But if we were just going to talk the equipment that we have here for this facet of what we're doing, the butchering is just a facet of the overall operation, but it's a real important one that people have a hard time overcoming. So that's why it's sought after information, and why there's a niche for us to teach it. So hopefully we're representing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homesteads here. Hopefully we get to teach this class at your homestead, you know, in the years to come. We're gonna be putting together an assault Winnebago, so we can park at your place and do this class. No, really, we would like to do that. We'd like to, you know, float it out to Martha's Vineyard and over to Beaver Island and do this
How
class.
about
Love
Mike? Or Florida.
to. And to
Mike's
Florida.
on.
Oh, Mike's on? Yeah, we're coming, Mike. So we've got people kind of, now that you've taken this class, you're kind of in the family, and that's why we laid the cards out on the table. If you're going for this and you're doing it, and you run into a jam up, ring my phone. I will answer the phone. I'm not a big texter, as I told you, but by all means, if you're trying to make this happen and you run into a jam up, ring my phone. I'll tell you what I think you ought to do, or I'll tell you.
Or come
I
out on
don't know
Wednesday
what to do.
nights. We do
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Wednesday nights on YouTube, the Baker's Green Acres YouTube. Me and Jill sit down at the kitchen table and we just field questions, and I have a blast. I don't get anything out of it other than, you know, I get kind of bored around here with my own company, and that way I get to talk to other people, and so it's fun. I better shut up and we better get going. So I'm going to turn it over to Jill, and she's going to tell you what we're actually going to be doing today. This is the time where I kind of catch up on my coffee drinking and yakking the third day. She's
Right.
the Poindexter here.
And let our YouTube people know. We'll talk to them on Wednesday if they have
Okay,
any
we'll see
questions.
you Wednesday night, YouTube people. Sayonara.